Hello, hello, hello. I am Shar. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming back and viewing my content. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you so choose. Today I'm going to be talking about the Amber Geiger case. As I've mentioned before, I like to talk about the most trending, most popular topics that's going on. And right now, the Geiger case is the most popular thing in and around this case. The antics from the judge, the antics from the brother, if you want to call it antics. The judge, Tammy Kemp, she has since been interviewed. I forgot the platform she was on. It has gone national. It's national news. Well, obviously, the case was national news just because of the circumstance that she was an off duty police officer and she was in someone else's home and shot the person and murdered that person. So, that, of course, made national news. But um, Judge Tammy Kemp and her antics also made national news because a lot of people are enraged that the judge put her own feelings or beliefs into this case in terms of, showing the, at that point, convicted murderer Amber Geiger, showing her emotion, offering her solace through religion, which is the prayer, and the fact that she was trying to advise her of faith in a higher power, offered her a prayer verse, and proceeded to give her a Bible. Now, it has come out from Mrs. Tammy Kemp herself during her interview that this all took place after the trial was actually over, meaning after the after the conviction had already been rendered. And so after the conviction has already been rendered, that means the jury has already deliberated, rendered their verdict, and so the trial is over, right? And the thought of um, influencing the jurors, that is out the window because they've already rendered their verdict. So I can't influence the jury or anything or anyone at this point. It's been done. So um, that's what she means when she says the court was over. But they were still actually physically in the courtroom, but it was over in terms of that part. So, any discussions or whatever or conversations she has with um, the convicted murderer Amber Geiger, it should be okay because she's at that point not influencing anyone because the verdict has already been rendered. So that was her stance on that. She went on to say that Amber told her that she did not have a Bible, she did not own a Bible, and so Judge Kemp went and actually got her a Bible. Apparently, okay, apparently it was her own Bible. You know, I mean, they may have Bibles sitting around in the courtroom where she's at. I don't know, but more than likely, this was Judge Kemp's own personal Bible because when she was talking to Amber Geiger, she had advised her that she reads a particular Bible verse herself every day or every morning before she comes into court, before she comes into her job. It was one that she liked and found solace in and read herself daily before she did her job. She would read on this Bible verse, and apparently the I don't. She didn't disclose what Bible verse it was, which one, and so I don't know which one it was, but apparently it's one that provides solace. It provides a sense of strength and a sense of faith, um, to help you throughout your day. You read this Bible verse and you meditate on this Bible verse, and meditate, and so to speak, it means that, like, you read on it, you think about what you're reading, you think about what it's saying, you think about the words, and that's what the meditation is. It's like you really really think about the words that it's saying, um, and when you think about those words intensely, it will provide you with a sense of calm. It will provide you with a sense of, I can get through this, which in turn that means it's providing you a sense of inner strength, emotional strength, that you can coexist, that you can get through, that you can continue to move on no matter the circumstance. So, she didn't provide what the Bible verse was, but she told her that this is something that she reads every day. She shared that with Amber Geiger, and she in fact gave her a Bible that, I'm believing was her own Bible. Okay, and so everybody is in an uproar about it. Like, you know, the fact that she showed her empathy and emotion like that, they don't like it, because the consensus is that Amber Geiger murdered somebody in cold blood, and they weren't doing nothing but minding their own business, allegedly sitting on a couch eating ice cream. Okay, but yet somehow he ends up dead, shot dead in his own home. So yeah, they're like, why are you showing her so much empathy like this? This is crazy. But she said that it was okay and that she didn't violate anything. Um, I think she had an attorney, or it was either an attorney or it was some type of legal advocate that was speaking on her behalf, after she did the interview, that he iterated that, what she didn't break any laws. So there it is. No laws was broke. And obviously, because, like I said, the court proceedings were over, the jurors had rendered their verdict. She wasn't influencing anyone. So, with that being said, no laws broke here, no violations. Um, and so, also, we also learned some devastating news about one of the key witnesses for the state of Texas, which was Joshua Brown. This guy, he was, key to the conviction, I believe, for, the state of Texas to get her the 10 years that she did get. You know what I'm saying? Joshua Brown, he was real, he was honest, and I believed him. I believed every word that came out of his mouth, and that's why, because, years ago I played around with the idea of wanting to be a lawyer. I even went so far as to take, they have these, it's a test that you have to take, prior to getting accepted into law school. Like, after you get your undergrad, whatever your undergrad is in, prior to being accepted into law school, you have to take a test. I forgot what the heck the test was called. Oh my God, I forgot the name of the test, but I believe it's like a total of 60 some odd questions, maybe more, give or take. And I don't know, I cannot recall what type of questions they were. Some of them were hypothetical, some of them were, they weren't really factual based, but it just, they were like critical thinking type questions that made you think, and they provided a set, and it was multiple choice. They provide a set of answers for you, um, and this way, based on your answers, with all these different scenarios, they can kind of sense how you think. And obviously, the better your score is, the better your chances of you being accepted into law school, because um, well, obviously the better scores is always going to be picked, but also with the better scores for that particular test, they kind of figure like you kind of sort of have the mindset, not necessarily of a lawyer, but just you have the mindset that's needed to be successful. Not so much to be successful as a lawyer, but be successful in completing the coursework for that particular program, if that makes sense. It's not saying that, because they can't determine if you're going to be a successful lawyer or not, but I guess if someone took that test and did very bad or did very poorly on it, they can say, okay. And of course, you have the opportunity to take the test again. It's probably just like for nursing, they have a test that you have to take. You could probably only take it so many times or whatever. And then after that, they like, look, this, no matter how much you want to do this, I don't think it's cut out for you, because you can't even successfully pass the test that is required for entrance into this particular program. You get what I'm saying? So that's how that goes. But anyway, so I played around with the idea of wanting to be an attorney way back when, and took the test, even though I didn't finish all the questions, because it was just lengthy. And like I said, I played around with the idea. I wasn't like hell bent on doing it. So, yeah, it's a really, really interesting field, though. And I enjoyed it, only because, I mean, I always get told, like, you should have been a lawyer. You should have been a lawyer. And people say that when you're, like, an argumentative person, right? Because you're always um, going back and forth with somebody. And basically going back and forth with somebody, they say this, you say that, you're always rebuttaling. Like, you're always, even though you said this, but yet I'm saying that. Okay, and then you said this, but yet I'm still coming back saying that. So, people, the general masses, they like to think like, oh, that's a good quality for an attorney, when really it's so much more than that. Like, you really need to know the law. You know what I mean? And really, it's just like being a doctor. You don't know everything, even though you finished medical school. You still don't know a lot. It's, unfortunately, it's like through trial and error. It's through continuing to educate yourself. It's continuing to do research about certain illnesses and diseases. You have to continuously work toward being knowledgeable. And unfortunately, even with medicine, is through trial and error, and that error sometimes is the loss of life. You know what I mean? Or some type of mistake or mishap as it relates to medical treatment or diagnosing, or all that stuff. So it's the same thing with being an attorney. It's through trial and error. You have to continue to educate yourself on the rules and the regulations and the guidelines of law, for that particular state. You have to research other cases, that's similar to that one, and what the outcome was, what those bumps in the roads were, that what made the case a hindrance, what made them lose, what made them win. I mean, it sounds overwhelming, but I mean, that's it. That's the job. Like, you're not going to be the best lawyer straight out of medical school. I mean, straight out of law school. It's through trial and error, and it's through educating yourself. But, and that's why it's amazing to be able to get knowledge and work under lawyers or attorneys that have already gathered or gained some type of success, um, in winning cases. Because you get some amazing information from them. Can you imagine being a new lawyer and working up under somebody like Johnny Cochran or something? Just gaining all his knowledge and what he thinks about cases, how he approaches them, and just the nuggets that he can give you or would have been able to give you had he still been alive today. But yeah, I want to say it's very safe to say that this guy did it for the state of Texas. Like, he was raw, he was honest, he was emotional, and that's real. You know, I will be the first to say, or I feel very safe in saying that, men don't cry that much. You know what I mean? I mean, you do get, I mean, it's an exception to every rule. So I'm sure there are men somewhere out there in the world, probably more so than I think, that cry, okay? But for the most part, because they're men, because they're boys, they're raised to be the stronger person, and men just have a different makeup than women. They have testosterone. That is a hormone that allows them to vastly be different than women. Women are the flip. Women are extremely emotional, way more emotional, which it enables us to cry and show emotion more, be more empathetic, sad, all these emotions we show. Men don't. It's just not their chemical makeup, right? So, showing emotion a lot that results in crying is a rarity for a lot of guys. And for this guy to shed a tear, I mean, he wasn't necessarily tear jerking. Like, he didn't release to the point where he was just jumping up and down with the tears, but he got emotional and he shed a few tears. And that is a rarity for a guy to just break out in tears over another man that he didn't even know. Like, he knew them, but they weren't friends. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't have a past. They didn't have a history. Like, he talked to him briefly, according to Mr. Brown, Joshua Brown. He indicated that he did meet Botham briefly after some type of inspection that was going on in their apartment. I think it was a moisture test that maintenance had to do on all the units in the building, and they both received knocks at their door about that, and so that's how he ended up meeting him. But it was kind of like a brief interaction. They kind of chopped it up a little bit, had a little conversation, and that was it. But yet, Joshua Brown knew that the guy lived across from him or next to him. I can't remember if he was actually on the same side of the hallway or across from him, across the hallway. But, he knew it was the guy across the way. And, yeah, he always heard him singing. And when he thought about that, clearly, when Joshua Brown began to think in his head about how he would hear this man singing in the mornings or in the afternoon, or whenever he would sing, whenever he would hear him, and the man always would sing like gospel music and some contemporary music, because it was said that Mr. Jean Botham, or Botham Jean, listened to Drake as well, rapper Drake, but he also listened to gospel, and he also sung gospel a lot, because I believe he sung in choir at his church or something like that. And when he began to think about how this man would sing, and he would be when you sing gospel music, you are in fact praising God, because obviously gospel music is always set around the uplifting of Jesus Christ. So, it's safe to say whatever the song he would be singing would entail the words of Jesus and Christ Lord, and, faith and hallelujah and all these things. You could just imagine what these lyrics would be that he would be belting out um, in song, in praise. So, um, he began to think about that and how he would hear him like every morning. And clearly he thought, and now I'm not going to hear him anymore. Like now it's over. Like I'm never going to hear this man sing again. This man is gone. And also he clearly thought of the gunshots that he heard, the two gunshots that he heard. Like, dang, I done sat up here and heard this man get killed. This man is never gonna, I'm not gonna hear this man sing again. Like, this man gone. This man is out of here. And clearly he thought about that internally in his own head, and it made him emotional. And that was real, and that was raw, and that was uncut and unplanned, and and that's what did it. And unfortunately, that's why Joshua Brown is not here today because, just like myself and many, many others, we saw that and they figured, well, that's it. She going to jail. She going away. And she did. She got 10 years because that was raw, real, and, that wasn't planned because how that came out, he just started getting emotional. And initially you thought that his voice was just going down because like he appeared to just start feeling to he appeared to seem like he was just getting agitated. And to me it just seemed like he just stopped. He just didn't feel like answering the questions no more, because that's what I was thought. Like, dang, like he his voice going down. I can't even hardly hear him no more. Like, I know he not getting like managed where he just like disrespecting the court and disrespecting the attorney and not really wanting to answer. Like, he tired of answering. And in fact, it was him getting emotional and his voice was cracking. And that's when you would see like, oh God, he's getting emotional, and tears started rolling. He ended up using a t-shirt that he had on to dry his tears, and he asked for a moment, and the attorney asked would he like to take a moment to just recompose and gather itself, get itself together. And so at that time the court took a break. But I was like, oh wow. And when I seen that, I was like, yeah, now I see. Like, they were going to give a conviction for sure. I know those jurors was like, yeah, because at that moment, in my opinion, at that moment, it set in like, damn, this nigga gone, and she the reason. She's the reason for it. Like, she shot him. He's dead because of her. And it just, for me, it set in like, dang, it is sad and it is real. You know what I mean? And this was even after got Amber Geiger testified on her own behalf. Like, even when she was getting emotional, and I hate to say this, but I wasn't even really feeling her emotion. Like, she didn't make me emotional when she was getting emotional, when she was talking about what happened. I don't know why. I guess I didn't believe her. I don't know. But when she was getting emotional, it didn't make me emotional. But it did make me emotional when I saw this guy. I didn't even get emotional when I heard the brother and his request to hug Amber Geiger. That didn't make me emotional either. And I don't know why. For me, I don't think it has anything to do. For I'm not saying Amber and what she didn't have anything to do with race. It could very well have something to do with race. I'm not saying that it didn't. I'm saying for me, the reason why these things didn't make me feel away, it had nothing to do with race. Meaning when Amber was talking and when she was getting emotional, and the fact that I didn't get emotional when I saw her display of emotion, I didn't think anything about race. She just seemed untruthful to me. And she just seemed like she was just trying to get out of things. You know what I mean? So it didn't make me emotional. With him, the brother, it didn't make me emotional, not because it's like, why you, the guy, the brother, the black guy, the brother of the guy, of the black guy who got killed, showing emotion to this white lady. It wasn't that for me. It just was the fact that you can forgive her in your head, like in your head and in your heart. You didn't necessarily have to reach out to her for an embrace. You know what I mean? I just, I didn't get that. And just because I didn't get it doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. It just means that I didn't get it. I mean, I never necessarily saw that type of display of affection or emotion in the courtroom, from the victim's family to the person that took someone's life. I mean, I admit I've never saw it, but even though I've never saw it, me myself, I don't know if I would want to display that because I feel like I'm giving the wrong message. Even though I'm about forgiveness, and as a Christian, you do have to forgive, but I didn't necessarily have to go to her for forgiveness. You know, being convicted and going to jail is punishment. It's punishment for what you've done. And I do feel like as a criminal, when you've done something really, really bad and heinous, like take someone's life, especially in this case, like this man definitely didn't deserve to die. I do feel like a person needs to feel that. Like they need to feel a little bit of responsibility and a little bit hurt from, such a heinous act that they committed. And even though I will forgive people, because at some point I do have to forgive, but I don't know if I would have displayed that, me, myself. Meaning, if even though in my head and in my heart I've forgiven you, the person who did something like that to my family, I don't know if they would know that I forgive them because I wouldn't necessarily show it, and they wouldn't necessarily hear me say I forgive you, but I would have, you know, try to forgive that person. Does that make sense? Like they don't necessarily know that I forgave them, but I do forgive them, but they don't necessarily know that because I'm not telling them and I'm not showing it. And so I don't know. That's just what I'm used to. I'm sure it's been a lot of cases where someone killed someone or maybe even raped someone. I don't know. And they maybe forgave the person who did it, but yet they're not showing it, right? So the person don't even know they forgive them. You know, I don't know. Usually these guys and these women, these people, they be up on the stand. They commit these heinous crimes, and you don't even want to show mercy for them because they be so cruel and mean and deranged and strange, and you be like, yeah, I'm good on that in terms of showing emotion or saying forgive you, I forgive you. No, it's not happening. But that was just it. Amber Geiger showed a lot of emotion. She showed a lot of empathy. She conveyed that she was sorry. She conveyed that it was a mistake. And she even tried to slip in that it's not, it wasn't a racial thing. It wasn't a racial thing. So, because of that, they may have believed her, and that may be why they wanted to show her empathy, to actually show her the empathy that, the fact that they forgave her because they feel like she, in fact, showed it to them. Like, she showed them her empathy, and she showed them that, she's sad and she's upset because of her actions. Because she even said on the stand that she feels bad. She feels like she doesn't deserve to live. She feels that she doesn't deserve to be happy and with her friends and with her family. And basically, she was saying that she wished it could have been reversed and her that died and not him. So basically, she's saying that she feels like she doesn't deserve to live. So, and I guess because of that, they felt confident or felt comfortable with, you know, being very vocal with sharing their thoughts on forgiveness. So, there it is. She's going to jail for 10 years or what have you. They say they may, she may only do 5. They've already put in the petition for her appeal. And this guy, he even got killed. He was shot in the mouth and in the chest, 2 shots. They are saying that this was some type of subliminal message because he got shot in the mouth. And he was a key witness for the state, key witness that they're feeling like really helped convict Amber Geiger. And here it is, weeks later, this guy ends up dead, shot in the mouth. Is that a message subliminally? Could be not, could be a coincidence. Who knows? Um, Yeah, but this guy had a clean record, pretty much. I mean, he's not exempt from trouble or issues, but I mean, for the most part, he has a clean record. He was a college graduate, and because he has a college education, doesn't necessarily mean this is the reason why he's considered to have a clean record. He had a clean record because he graduated from college. I mean, he's done some things. I mean, we're all human, right? But for the most part, he wasn't necessarily considered a criminal. He smoked weed. Okay, fine. Who doesn't? I mean, it's legal in so many different states now. Who cares? You know, marijuana is not making you go out rob people. It's addictive. It's highly addictive, but it's not making you go out rob people, kill people. You're not doing strange, deranged things from being high unless you're using weed along with something else, or unless you're mixing weed, or unless you're using these faulty weeds like the synthetic weed. That's not even really weed. They should even stop calling it weed. Synthetic weed, I don't know what the hell that is. I haven't done any research on that and don't care to, but I know that it's not regular weed, okay? In the words of Cat Williams, it's not regular weed. And so the outcome and the results of your high from synthetic weed is completely different, okay? Regular weed, regular weed just gives you the munchies. You may get silly, you may get sleepy. Um, yeah, and you're in the zone. That's it. You know what I mean? That's the history of weed. It's not making you have these diabolical thoughts to go kill somebody unless you are a person that already have some really, not necessarily really deep rooted mental issues, but if you are already a person that's kind of battling on some mental issues, any controlled substance, be it weed, be it alcohol, they can it can get heightened, and it can go to the next level. That's because your mind is already at a point where it's unstable. Like your thoughts and all these things is already at a point of break, in terms of schizophrenia, in terms of whatever other issues, social, whatever your issue is mentally, it can be altered heavenly with a controlled substance. So, yeah, if you hear somebody did something crazy and they smoked weed, it's because they were probably already a little crazy. And like I said, any type of controlled substance that you mix with mental issues, it will definitely get heightened. Okay. So, um yeah, he didn't have any really blemishes on his record. um he worked as a property manager for Airbnbs. And yeah, no, this guy, and you mean tell me he was making a drug deal in an upscale neighborhood? Because these areas that they lived in were not like the hood. They may not have been the most affluent areas or whatever, or the most affluent apartments or condominiums or whatever, but is they definitely weren't for low income people. Okay, low income people cannot afford to pay $2,000 and $3,000 a month on apartment units or townhouse units or what have you. Okay, so yeah, they weren't for low income people. Okay, So the fact that they're trying to say this guy went ahead and made a drug deal in this upscale neighborhood in his parking lot, knowing that he's already been on TV, he was a key witness for the state of Texas to help convict Amber Geiger. He's about to do something so stupid and so reckless. I mean, it's possible, but I doubt it very seriously. I do. And they're saying that these guys sat up here and drove from New Orleans to Texas. Now, I don't know how much time that is on the road, but is it that serious? Like, really? Like, you gonna drive from New Orleans to Texas? Like, why come they couldn't get weed in New Orleans somewhere? I just didn't get that. That sounds almost stupid to me. Like, why in the hell did you go all the way to Texas to buy weed? That's stupid to me. I mean, and to buy it and to smoke it, like I could see if they were transporting weed from one place to another to make a sale, because people will do that. But you mean to tell me I'm gonna leave the state just to go buy weed? Get out of here. So you telling me nowhere in the state of New Orleans is known for somebody or a certain area or a group of people to have what they call good weed or whatever the hell good weed is supposed to be, because I'm not a weed smoker, so I don't know. But they couldn't find good weed or authentic weed or whatever the hell in the state of New Orleans nowhere. That's crazy. So they drove all the way to Texas. Okay, I don't believe that. Some bullshit. But may this guy, Joshua Brown, may he rest in peace. Amber Geiger, I hope she gets it together too. Because she's a human being. Get it together. Maybe when she sitting up in there, I don't know if she's going to do the whole 10 years or if she does 5. Hopefully she'll come out a better person. Maybe she'll come back out not prejudiced. I don't, it's not been said that she's prejudiced, but, whatever. That's probably what it is. Or either she had some type of relationship with the guy and it didn't come out. I don't know how it wouldn't come out, because somebody would have seen something like her being over to his apartment before, or I don't know, something. I mean, stranger things have happened, but she either had some type of previous dealings with him and maybe he was rejecting her in some way or another, or she was, it was a hate crime. I don't know. I don't know we'll ever know. But, either way, hopefully she'll come out a better person. And may God bless Botham's family and help them get through this terrible time. So I think I've taken enough of you guys' time. Thanks for listening to me. I will be back once again. Like I said, society never fails me. It's always something going on. So I will be back again with another insert of the most talked about trending topics. Thank you. Talk to you guys later.